and welcome to the very final edition of the Weekly Zoo. We feared we were going to run late this morning. Unfortunately, just some zigger-zagger, as they would say as a kid, things got in the way. You know how I don't like being dysregulated. We're actually started literally at 9 o'clock 00. Funny how this happens. We actually are on time for our last show, and I'm dressed for the occasion. If you're watching the stream here, this is the Weekly Zoo. This is unfortunately the very last episode. The very, very last episode. Not me jumping ship or taking other things. This facility will be closing down on September 15th, the end of September 15th. We are going to be shutting down the facilities. Our business model doesn't work well in a social economic system where the amateurs and the people that don't value the tried and true technology of video, not film, not cinema, doesn't work in this state. This market is not wanting to have an alternative. There's this acceptance of oligopolies and monopolies. So that's kind of the business model, and the lack of media literacy in this state, unfortunately, and I'm not trying to be spiteful here, the media economy or the media literacy doesn't help matters. And in about a minute, we are going to do a moment of silence. Since this is September 11th, we have not done a show on 9/11 particularly, but we felt out of respect for our friends throughout the country that this atrocity that happened 23 years ago, which, God, we're going to take it, we will be doing a moment of silence, and then I believe it'll be about 9:29 or 9:30. We're just going to break at 9:30 to do another moment of silence of the event in the Pentagon. So in about a few minutes or a few seconds, we're just going to go to our break and just pause for right now. The other thing too, as we're talking about 9/11, for me being a broadcast guy that understand, I'm kind of this hot mess of someone who has editorial and engineering or backgrounds. 9/11, I really, and I think I said this on the Zoo 4 years ago. My suspicion was that the reason why it was such a traumatic event wasn't the filmmakers, not the people with the DV cameras who wanted to be filmmakers, but the broadcast and the electronic news gathering, the live shots, the city cams. New York City did not have city cams up until probably about 1997. They were the last big market to do so, and the news gathering copters. And all that technology of immediacy where film cannot do. Film, or if you try to be a filmmaker with digital technologies, you can't get that story out in seconds, and there were some filmmakers with probably the Canon XL1s that did get on the news later that day because they had to go and import it, ingest it, digitize it. because the networks weren't fully digital at that point. But that was that technology, the still city cameras. Those didn't have film. There's no like recording on those cameras up on top of the high buildings. They were. It was ironic that the World Trade Center did not have a city cam. They didn't have one there, but and that's where all the transmitters are. And normally you have a camera on the transmitter. Maybe they would have installed one probably in like a year or two following that, to be honest. But, just people are not very media literate, and I see a lot of people, a lot of streamers, a lot of Twitchers that just, say, we're filming. Yes. Yeah, because we have a sound guy, audio guy. I mean, do you know how much money it costs to film as opposed to doing ENG? One ENG camera is $50,000. The film stuff is like twice as that with multiple hardware, and it doesn't bring efficiency. So yeah, I'm a TV snob, and I love my radio too. We're gonna do the radio in a moment here. The MinifigNewsguy is a no-show right now, but I will take over for MNG temporarily because I do have the cuts, and I will read the copy of the news that was for the last couple weeks and a couple days, excuse me. At least I have them on my screen right now. I have two cuts. If I can get it up here, and we'll just try to get it up here. Come on. Thank you. Nope. I hope we have the copy. Oh, go figure. You kidding me? We don't have the wire. Oh Lord. There we go. Thank you. Alright, let's start with Kelly Coyote, the Wild E. Coyote, political biatch here. That's what's the lead is. Soy boy husband and just this political biatch. I mean, she's a menopausal woman with high arrogance, and this is what we get. She got nearly I forget the exact number, 30,000 because it was low because it was a primary. She beat Chuck Norris by 30%. And now my computer's locking up. Okay, hold on a moment. This no spring chicken here. My computer's 10 years old. It's not relevant. My ass. Let me try to pull it up again. So she beat Chuck Norris by 30 percentage points. And why have an election? Why have an election? She won the primary. It's a sample, and I just lost my copy. Did I lose my copy? I hope not. Okay, this is what happens. We get up early, but the computer is late. Go frickin' figure. All right. Do we have the other cut? Governor TV. Yes, Governor TV can get a new nickname. He's now known as Governor Heimlich.
Your water.
Let's play that cut.
Day, and you might notice lobster roll eating competition on Sunday, and you might notice something isn't right.
The gentleman at the far end, who I was kind of watching, I glanced over. I could tell very quickly he took a pause. He was having trouble getting something down.
A contestant was choking and signaling for help.
I started saying, he's choking, and I could tell people weren't responding. So I just moved forward and immediately started to kind of give him the Heimlich.
But look closely first to help, that's Governor Chris Sununu.
It was crazy because it wasn't so much the jumping in and doing it. I mean, that was wild in itself, but there was so much commotion.
After 5 compressions and a little help from some first responders, that piece of lobster popped right out.
And the American Red Cross would say we're probably not flattered by that because they don't, they call it differently.
Each went right back to eating. The Red Cross trains millions of people each year what to do in these situations.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It's the 5-on-5 rule, 5 back bridge slaps, and what they call abdominal thrusts. They don't like the guy named the former guy named Heimlich. Here, let's play.
Is crucial.
Oxygen not getting the brain for seconds is critical.
Nick Bond with the American Red Cross says the trainings also give people the confidence to act, especially in times when a lot of people are around and some folks might not react right away.
They kind of look around and like, who's going to step up first? Is this really an emergency? You really learn to recognize and then build that confidence so that you know that you have the skills to be able to help someone.
In Bruno's case, he says he'll be back in Hampton next year to compete again.
It hasn't happened more often, but again, the bystander effect, the film, the movie effect, the infamous movie. Oh my God, he's choking. Is anyone going to do anything? It's almost like art imitating reality. WCBS News Radio, our radio inspiration for radio news, shut its doors on August 26th. On August 12th, the parent company Odyssey announced that they were going to shut out WCBS News Radio and replace it with piping content from ESPN Radio. And as a result of that, the station had less than a 2-week notice, and probably nearly 100 employees lost their jobs. And it's being replaced with 1010 Wins. But I do think that despite that monopoly in New York, I think 1010 Wins will have more responsibility than what WMUR does with TV news here in New Hampshire. Alright, that is the news update. MNG will provide updates throughout the show on our 9:30 break, which again we're going to probably pause and do a 9/11. And if we're here around 10:30, we'll pause as well. This wasn't our plan to do a show on September 11th. It wasn't our plan to be our last show. We last night did a retrospective of some of the more funnier stuff. If you are watching us on stream, you can join us in the comments. Maybe we'll take our stream on 312 near the maybe for the 10 o'clock hour on the Love and Relationships hour, if we have much to talk about on love and relationships. MNG is on his way. Okay, he's been a little bit slow, and I'm gonna just go without breakfast, I guess, this morning, and just plow on by here. I'd like to think that the viewers, the listeners, we don't think we've hit more than 10 people uniquely in the last 4 years. We knew we had audio issues. I was not an audio engineer, but I did learn about audio gain in the last year and a half, so I've gotten a lot better. But again, it was during chaos. It was during a pandemic. It was very traumatic. I look back at it, it has done a lot in my life. The business was not even a year in. But we did have a few clients, but not enough to sustain in this media climate. And again, I was really hoping that this would be a better, something better would happen here on the show and or in my business. But of course, I had to learn the TikTok way. I had to learn the other way, the more cheaper way. And I don't want to be in an elitist. I don't want to be a snob. That's not what I stand for. We're going to take a break right now. Normally we try to be really quick on our timing here. So, in about I got 2 more minutes. Okay, I gotta fill up time for 2 minutes. What's the future gonna hold? I think that's a good question. A big question. I think the future is gonna get a lot bleaker, as Wayne Cabot said in his goodbye to WCBS radio. The media is a dying desert. It's becoming a drier and bigger desert, and I just don't think people want to be informed. They want to be affirmed. Our show, we weren't providing misinformation and stuff like that. We really tried to be counter speech, responsible speech. Oh, that was hated on our short that we did, because people just think that freedom of speech has no responsibility. If you guys remember the Chronicles of a Corrupted Childhood and even the Purple Pill, we talked a bit about narcissism, and at that time, and apparently some of my early 2021 episodes, I talked a lot about toxicities without even really realizing it. But I for one, just was on autopilot, I guess, just flying on the seat of my pants of discovering what is toxic people and why I'm not on YouTube, why I didn't do tech on YouTube anymore, because most of those people were narcissists. But now I look back at it, and they're alpha man, controlling, possessive nut jobs. And I still don't want to do technology on YouTube. I really don't want to be gaining 60% of men who think they're entitled to have women's pussy. And I am, so I'm discovering all this, and I just feel like the people that defend freedom. Oh, that was one other thing we'll do at the break. Melissa, not so sweet Melissa Blasiak from, I think, our home base, our home girl, not my home girl. She posted some really cringy thing on X. We'll talk about that at the next break, which will be after now here on the weekly. So we'll be back momentarily. environment. We are we are we've been through all these challenges for the last few years, just trying to ride the storm as long as we could. A lot of businesses that we have created, or not we, I don't know why I'm saying we, but businesses I know that was created during the pandemic didn't survive, but we were we had a 1 year lean. We had we had the weekly zoo, but it wasn't generating enough profit. Notice how we're not running commercials for techie crafts and stuff like that. I think it's given that we are not that they're not looking for advertising in our traffic department. We have a great traffic department because I don't know how they know that we were able to, we were billing appropriately. I don't know why I'm fixing my tie for our simulcasted stream, but again, media literacy is a big problem. This is one of the things I hear so many people talking about. We never film our podcast because technically I think we're running around 24 frames a second, but we are streaming and we're broadcasting. We're live. And then we tape our show, and then we cut it up. But filming requires this big ass, because people don't know what broadcast is. I mean, a lot of kids today just think that the only thing going forward is film. And I find that word to be very triggering. Alright, you know what I think about homeschooling? I think it's a way to shelter kids, to indoctrinate your static views, and make sure you keep them in line well into adulthood, okay? I feel like that it's wrong. Melissa Balasiak, who I believe represented Merrimack at one point, who blocked me on my personal Facebook because she was sharing a post from the Free Staters whack jobs, claiming that the welfare system keeps you makes you fail or whatever. There was some sarcastic reference, and I wrote a pretty constructive response, right? Counter speech, got blocked by an elected. Now the other thing too is this Melissa's X, formerly known as Twitter. It was private for the longest time. She was a public official with a private profile. I mean, anti-democratic. The picture of her shows her as a tradcon. She's got minimal makeup, perfect hair, or long basic hair, basic bitch, because she's got to submit to her man who demands her to look a certain way, which that would be possessive in most norms, right? So, and she's really a free stater, a liberty lobbyist. She was defending a libertarian. But anyhow, the post she posted, I think on Friday or Saturday, is one of the many advantages of homeschooling is that we can go on vacation when the rest of the world goes back to school. I wonder why I see so many kids in so many places not in school. They're homeschooled, but where are they actually learning anything? Are they even comparable going to college? Are they just going to bring their religion, their extreme interpretations of their religion to the rest of the world? And then when they see the rest of the world, not like what, I wish I had the sound cut of, the sheltered people going into rednecks going to cities. Oh my God! There's these blue-haired people, blue-haired that, facts and trans and blah blah blah. I can't figure this stuff with attitude. That's basically Melissa. Not so sweet, Melissa, because you blocked me on Facebook for writing a counter comment. What? We're supposed to tell you what you're supposed to hear all the time? We're supposed to be simping for you? This is why I hate hashtag NH politics. why I hate this state. Why this state is literally a dumpster fire. And I believe New Hampshire will be the first state to fail. And then we'll turn it into, a non-united. I mean, we're already acting as if we're not Americans. It's so funny. People fly the American flag. They believe in America, but but when you have Kelly Ayotte saying, well, you don't want to mess up New Hampshire, but yeah, she puts, who was the patriot? I had to look at the archives because I can't even remember on one of our Coyote watches. God help us. Our state is in shambles. Our state is in shambles, and we're less than 90 days, maybe 70 days away from tyranny. I don't trust Kelly Ayotte at all. She's not representing us. She might very well be, she might very well, talk to the adults in the room, but not, not, she's not, she'll talk to a head of Eastfields. She'll talk to somebody from, what was the other organization? One of the area agencies, but she'll talk to the bosses, the typical bosses. Will she engage in people like us? Of course not, because she's an elitist bitch. And I bet you most of the people at the Developmental Services Bureau will sim for Kelly. That's how bad it is. God, the mental health agency's calling us twice. Good God, I let me tell you, can I bitch? Can I bitch before we go to our hard break? That these younger people that don't know how to talk, or it's a communication problem. We can't call them, but they can call us. They don't leave a voice message, and then they call twice, thinking we'll pick up or something like that. I ranted about how much I hate the mental health system because one of my family members has been screwed over for 10 months, and like I said, the communication is a bitch there. All right, it's about 9:29. I'm going to I forget what time the Pentagon got hit, but I think it was like right before 9:30. We're gonna do our moment of silence, and then we'll have MNG provide you a news update. And our country was very united 20-something years ago, and I have not felt that unity since. Again, patriotism has been politicized. Subtle patriotism isn't even supported anymore. All right, we are going to take a break. MNG is in our studio. He will provide us a news update, and we will get to Amanda. We'll have our final words, our favorite moments of our show after the break. MNG will have a news update momentarily. MinifigNewsguy in the weekly Zoo News Center, our second to last news update. Do you want to Coyote Watch cut? Coyote Watch. The latest on Kelly Ayotte by the MinifigNewsguy. Kelly Ayotte has won the Republican primary, beating Chuck Morris by 30 points and nearly 30,000 votes. Meanwhile, her chew toy, Joyce Craig, won the Democratic primary for the Granite State for the Granite State governor. We will have more updates when it warrants. The Weekly Zoo does the Coyote Watch as a public service to ensure the whereabouts of a former Attorney General now running as a presumptive governor for the state of New Hampshire. If you've spotted this former Attorney General committing crimes such as violating the right to know law, please call the New Hampshire Attorney General's office at 603-271-3658 or Attorney General at doh.nh.gov via email. And now back to the Weekly Zoo.
Pure water comes from a well.
Competition is...
I started saying, he's joking, and I could tell people weren't responding, so I just moved forward and immediately started to kind of give him the Heimlich.
But look closely, and you'll see that's not an EMT jumping in first to help. That's Governor Chris Sununu.
It was crazy because it wasn't so much the jumping in and doing it. I mean, that was wild in itself, but there was so much commotion.
After 5
Governor Sununu became Governor Heimlich on Sunday at the Hampton Beach Seafood Festival with the lobster eating competition. The video provided by a local TV station showed the individual was holding his chest, and bystanders were unclear what to do. The governor went up and performed the outdated procedure of thrusting the abdomen and got it out. The American Red Cross, on the other hand, were probably not flattered.
Pure water comes...
Realize it. What to do in these situations?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5 back blows, and if the person still can't breathe, 5 abdominal thrusts. Here are some of the warning signs to tell if someone is choking. Once you realize it, time is crucial.
Oxygen not getting the brain for seconds is critical.
Nick Bond with the American Red Cross says the trainings also give people the confidence to act, especially in times when a lot of people are around and some folks might not react right away.
You kind of look around and like, who's going to step up first? Is this really an emergency? You really learn to recognize and then build that confidence so that you know that you have the skills to be able to help someone.
And again, surprised that has not happened. There was no other incident of a choking emergency at the Seafood Festival related to the lobster roll. Do we have the cut of an interview with the gentleman? He did not know that it was Sanu. Let's play that cut. He also won the competition, mind you. We wanted to add that in there.
Contestant.
Lo and behold, the governor was the first one to notice what was actually happening.
Participating in his first eating competition ever.
Kind of like, all right, like, don't freak out. You're going to finish this. Like, you're going to get this out, and you're going to keep going.
He says he didn't know it was the governor that saved him until he put his glasses
And also on our Media Watch, unfortunately, there's one less radio station providing radio news on the Eastern Seaboard. On August 12th, Odyssey announced that they were going to shut down WCBS News Radio 880 in New York City. On August 26th, just 2 days short of its official 57th anniversary of its all-news format, WCBS Radio shut off their signal. They retired their calls, and Odyssey had hired a third party to reprogram the station's ESPN radio. The station has been said by many alumni that the station was not an authority, but talking you as if they were your friend, and that was our inspiration for our news flashes here on the weekly. So we hope that is. Sadly, this we have news of our own. The Weekly Zoo is signing up for the last time as our production company. 312 Media is closing. We want you to all know that in the last 5 years, four of them as the Weekly Zoo has been a pleasure to do during the worst times of our lives. We felt like we acted as if we were the WTBS, that is the wartime broadcasting service, that secret Cold War service by the BBC that never was. We felt it was very important to inform the news of the insanity in that time. We are planning to do a very last tape special at Sunday night at approximately 11 p.m. Follow up for more information on our X and Facebook pages for more additional information. Also, our equipment will be liquidated, so if you want to get some of our old equipment, you might be able to get it here, because when one door closes, the other one opens. And I'll have another update at 10 o'clock here on the Zoo here. This is the MinifigNewsguy here in the Weekly Zoo News Center for the second or last time. Back to you. And I know we've been doing this for how many times have we been late on the show due to the one that canceled us and stuff like that. Some of the questions we've been asked, was it our computer problems that could have been a problem? I'm not at liberty to disclose, but your assumptions were probably not far off that we had an outage. It's really important to have redundant systems documentation, so you're not. Don't worry, I'm okay. Just dust. What else do we have on our show? What are we going to talk about on the LNR Hour? What was your favorite segment on the show of all the episodes? I'm going to ask you, what was your favorite episode? I'm going to give one of my favorite episodes. It was on the LNR Hour. I remember it was on the LNR Hour. Unfortunately, it was our taped episode in June 2021. We were going to go on our, several week break in July, and then obviously Melanie committed suicide. Okay, and that was a very unfortunate situation. That we were we did a tape show. We had callers calling in. It was strictly an L&R show. I think it was the first ever show that we called it the Love and Relationships Hour. And by creature of habit, I called it the Relationships Hour, because it was just out of a creature habit. We had a caller that said he had the hots for this hippie girl, and his parents would kill him if they knew he had the hots for him. And he asked what I don't have the clip right now, but he asked me, what should I do? And I said, screw your parents if you love her so much. And I said, it's just that line alone was my favorite cut of all favorite callers was Michael, who normally he was kind of like a bro figure on the show. Josh, the deep voice guy. He was very empathetic for a big dude. We had Josh would call on occasion. Lindsay from La La Land, as much as she's a right-wing nut job, probably is more crazier than my paternal aunt. She was from, I think, San Diego originally, or went from LA to San Diego. She was a weirdo, but blonde, allegedly a blonde, blue-eyed bimbo. She was crazy like that. The pregnant. We played this a couple of times. We played it last night. My baby's horny and pregnant, and I'm just like jiggling like a hyena. We kind of knew that these calls would come in, right? But when it's one thing when we're in that moment where it's live, and you're like, oh my god. Because the one with the scary appearance, that was a tape one. This one was live. And I'm like, oh, pregnant, horny. Oh wow, well, what should I? And he was hopeless. Like she was dying of being horny. And like, I don't know, do porn or something. You know? Then we had another girl called Alicia who called in and said she gets horny on her period when she's menstruating. So she, had an easy access boyfriend whenever it needed, but those were like the normal. And then we read something from, I think it was Dr. Jen Mann from like InStyle.com, who of which that name, she was on a TMZ documentary on J-Lo and Affleck, because I guess she's from California. I guess with a name like that, it would make sense. And yeah, Dr. Jen Mann, the psychologist, she was on this TMZ I was watching in the summertime. Maybe in springtime, I can't remember. But she explained, she had this in this InStyle article of what to do if you're pregnant and horny, and there's really nothing really wrong. You're not going to hurt the baby. It's all those different hormones that could make a boy a little kinky. I've always wondered that if a horny parents created a horny offspring, or a horny pregnant mother created a horny offspring. I've always wondered, or that's just a neurological problem. Those are my favorite callers. MNG, you've been with us from the beginning, but you've listened to the show before. But what was your favorite segment on the show? Was there something that really made you like laugh your ass off or something like that? Because I know we haven't had callers for a while. It's too bad. Our phones right now are not working, so we're just like, go figure. This is what happens when we went to VoIP. We knew it was going to be a problem. But go on, MG. One of my favorite callers was what was the caller? I can't remember the context of it. Somebody that worked with special needs and was dating a guy, and she didn't know if, even though they didn't work or they didn't know each other, that would like jeopardize the relationship. the Barf Talk here. This is the weekly zoo, our very last show here on the zoo here, and I love how there's a countdown. This computer's really backlogged. I'm glad we don't have to worry about this anymore. After today, we can let this place burn. This show, I wanted to talk about this because this is interesting. This is the morning September 11th, and honestly, I don't think anyone in my classroom knew what was going on. But my mother called down the road from where I live is where my mother used to work at chip plant, which is now a strip mall, and she called to what was called at the time Seacoast Learning Collaborative, which is nothing really collaborative at all. It's just a catchy, marketable name because it was a private entity. Called the police and told them what was going on. I think it was in between the first the South and North Tower collapses. In between this, so it was before 11. And she told me to have someone tell Steeman because he had been on the island and had been there. When it was told to me about 11 a.m., or it was right after the South Tower collapse, it took me a few seconds to register. World Trade Center, planes flying around. Is it planes flying? And so I was, I'm hearing planes flying in the area, and then I mentioned World Trade Center, which I thought was Boston. People know that one. And then we had then it was New York, and then I, like, that 10 slow seconds of, oh my god, it's the Twin Towers. Oh my god. And as all of you know, at that time, the internet was literally broken. Every website, like CBS, CBS TV, CNN, MSNBC, everything, but there was one website that was getting through. We also had satellite internet, by the way, where the way it worked was we had to dial up to go ingress to basically request the site, then use satellite to downlink stuff, and need I say more? And there was one picture which I think came from Chopper 80 actually, because it was from the south looking to the north when the second tower hit, and I believe it was Tom Kaminsky's chopper. It was cool that Chopper 80 wasn't just for WCBS radio, it was for Metro Shadow. And again, this is where I talk about ENG technology that my love. I'm sorry. So basically, it was very it was really traumatic. I'm sorry, my phones should not be on. Turn them off. And stuff like that. But the whole point of this was that that they wouldn't tell us, and that was the other thing too, was they you know what, I'm gonna redo my thoughts in a moment here. I'm gonna take a break. I'm under so much emotion right now, letting go my station, my format, my podcast and stuff like that. We're gonna go to the Minifig News Guy at the break. Probably he's gonna do the news a little bit later. We need to regroup here. Thank you for listening to the weekly zoo, and I'll have this re-queued up for a later. I'm a little bit half-witted. We'll be back in a moment. podcast has been rated by the podcasting board as P14 for the audience of the faint of the heart that can't take a joke. It's time for the Clickford and the Weekly Stew, brought to you by Takegraphs at clickford.net. Let's go to the MinifigNewsguy in the Weekly Zoo News Center for the latest. Hey, today the temperature, we've had a very cold stretch of fall-like weather in late summer. We are going to be entering the fall to be a bit warm, although it could be a lot worse. We'll have the forecast after the news. It will cool down later into the following week, but we'll get to that in a moment. Let's get to our Coyote Watch while we're at it. Coyote Watch. The latest on Kelly Ayotte by the MinifigNewsguy. Kelly Ayotte has won the Republican primary, meanwhile her choice, Joyce Craig, had won the Democratic Party for the Granite State Governor. Nearly 30, she's...
So glad to be here with all of you to celebrate this victory, especially my family, my wingman Joe, and of course my mom and my aunt.
She beat Chuck Morris by nearly 30 points. We could, as Stephen would say, she could might as well just win the election at this point. The Weekly Zoo does the Coyote Watch as a public service to ensure the whereabouts of a former Attorney General now running as a presumptive governor for the state of New Hampshire. If you've spotted this former Attorney General committing crimes such as violating the right to know law, please call the New Hampshire Attorney General's office at 603-271-3658 or Attorney General at doh.nh.gov via email. And now back to the Weekly Zoo.
Counter.
Lobster popped right out.
He went right back to the contest, which I couldn't believe. He ate another 7 lobster rolls after that, right down the gullet.
Governor Chris Sununu became Governor Heimlich on Sunday at the Hampton Beach Seafood Festival. Video provided...
Christian Moreno was that contestant.
Lo and behold, the governor was the first one to notice what was actually happening.
Participating in his first eating competition ever.
Kind of like, all right, like, don't freak out. You're going to finish this. Like, you're going to get this out and you're going to keep going.
He says he didn't know it was the governor that saved him until he put his glasses back on.
My counter came up to me and, like, made a joke and was like, oh, like, I bet nobody else can say that they've gotten the Heimlich from the governor before. And I looked at him and was just like, that was the governor?
Christian says he's grateful because he realized
the American Red Cross was, on the other hand, was probably not flattered. They advocated again the 5 on and 5 roll, 5 back whacks, and 5 thrusts if anyone's presenting symptom choking. There was most likely a bystander effect and a lot of commotion and stimuli going on, probably giving why there was confusion. In our media news, it's been a sad day for the people who work in the First Amendment. Let's cue Wayne Cabot. Can we get to the cut where Wayne Cabot mentions the news desert? We're doing this in live, mind you.
Gordon Gamer, Kevin Burkhardt, Kevin Connors, Bill Godfrey, Bill Schweitzer, Rich Ackerman, Howard Carter, The CBS Radio Network and its legions of correspondents, reporters, anchors, and commentators. Harry Reisner, Dan Weber, Walter Cronkite.
I picked up the station here in southern New Hampshire. We were getting it somewhat clear as a bell, but then as we got to the top of the hour, the station just we could not get this. And it was, unfortunately, it was happening before. We were monitoring the air days before, and because we had a feeling that there was going to be something that's going to be said by Wayne Cabot. Unfortunately, so the station was announced on August 12th by Odyssey that the station was going to shut down its format, use a third-party company to program the station as an ESPN piping it in, and on the sign-off on at 12:01 a.m. on Monday the 26th, just 2 days short of its 57th anniversary of its all-news format, and the station was the aspiration for radio news, as if we were talking like a pal, and not giving a voice to authority is no longer. And with that unfortunate segue, as much as I want to tell you as the MinifigNewsguy, I've struggled to get into the news business as a stringer. The social media can be very toxic amongst the peers, perceived peers. So I left BCOP, I was let go of BCOP TV and BCOP Radio in 2023, and I decided to join with Steven to be part of the Zoo crew for the last year, and we obviously hadn't done a show in a very long time. I wanted to say thank you for those people that have complimented me, seeing the minifig me on the screen. Thank you to all the people behind the microphone that make this possible. It's clearly needs more people than just one or two. We've been held. What I kid around said that this show's been held up on Betacam tape and cellophane tape, just keeping this facility up and going during this pandemic. And I love telling you guys the news, the stories that you should know, that you need to know. Sometimes with a satirical feel, and that's the story. This is a gut punch for us as well, and it's hard to compete in a state where we are a news desert and people are proud of it. One of my former support staff had told me we were talking on the phone or FaceTime, and he had the audacity to tell me that we can't save everything or we can't replace everything. That infamous military line of "we can save a few but let others burn." That was the kind of the undertone, and I feel like that is what this world is. That we some of us can't be saved. Some can be saved from like what happened in Hampton Beach the other day, but some people are going to drown or choke or lose their careers. I don't want this to make this about me. I don't want to be spiteful, but it was enjoy. One of the things I would say to you folks: enjoy the time, because you don't know when your last day will be. If you can even celebrate last day. And for me, I'm able to say thank you. Thank you for everything you've done. And now I'm going to head back to the weekly zoo. My time is up. The forecast, I meant to tell you that. Our forecast today, we will be near 82 degrees today. We were below normal for over 10 days. You knew it was going to rebound, and you knew it was only a matter of when. Our highs within the next 10 days will be about next Wednesday, with temperatures in the upper 80s. The lows for in the next week will be in the lower 60s, so we're not going to get those crisp nights. Probably cloudy overnight will likely keep that heat in. And then temperatures will become seasonally mild by next Friday, with a chance of rain. So that is your last forecast. No traffic reports to report as well. There was in Copenhagen, there was a disabled vehicle on 291 westbound heading out of the State House in Copenhagen. So that's really the only other problem, but that's typically the traffic. Again, sign off here on the Weekly Zoo. This is the Minifig News Guy, and this has been your Weekly Zoo news update. My last one. And this would be your last update at 10 in the morning. We normally would go to an hour long on LNR, on the Love and Relationships hour. Bro, I know we're gonna probably have another after party at the end of today. We're not gonna do much of LNR today, because there really isn't much to talk about. There was a girl that I talked about a while back, and there's some really no development. So, do you want to talk about me being perpetually single? You want me? I don't want to be petty. It doesn't make good for good box office. I want to reframe what I discussed earlier on this show, in right before the bottom of the hour here on the zoo. Yeah, I think we're gonna do another moment of silence around 10:28, just because that would be the South Tower's collapse. Just we got 13 more minutes, but I don't think we're gonna be going that far. As I mentioned about the morning of September 11th, my mother was working down the road from here where we are broadcasting, streaming, and she found out the news through a TV that they had in work that was tied to some satellite feed. They didn't get, there wasn't much on the TV because you don't have TV in the workplace at that time. And so what happened was my mom and Graham, I think, called each other. I don't recall the exact story. She calls my school right about 11 in the morning, right probably when North went down too. And she called them to let me know, because I've been to the city, I've been in the World Trade Center. And so when my counselor came in and told us what was going on, only I was the one that responded the way I responded. The way it went was planes were flying around and thought maybe it was a local thing. Then the World Trade Center thought it was a regional thing. Boston, there's the World Trade Center in Boston, the little buildings. And then they mentioned the Twin Towers, and I'm doing the math, or maybe he said New York, and I immediately thought the Twin Towers. The internet was broken, literally. This is when the phrase broke the internet really meant what it really meant. Everything was overwhelmed. Every website, WCBS880.com, WCBS TV's website, CNN, CNBC, every site, every major news site was jammed. There was one, and we had satellite internet, which was sketching in, sketching out to the state. Brentwood, New Hampshire was pretty rural. It's not that far away from Portsmouth, but it wasn't that far away from civilization either. But anyways, there was this one picture, I think it was on MSN, I believe, and it was a picture from Chopper 8AU Tom Kaminsky, because that chopper was pooled with, I think, Metro and Shadow stations. So the stations that used Metro and Shadow traffic service was able to get that because it was the only, I believe it was Chopper 8 was the only one that got the south top, was from the south looking to the north with the second plane coming in and hit. It was, I just remember the big ball of fire on MSN.com, and that was sad to see. And they would have told me this because I don't think the teachers knew, but also it was a stimulation. It was a stimulation, something that makes you feel good. Not what happened, obviously, but just New York, right? The school was trying. This is pre-ABA therapy, pre-data-driven on everything. The way that special ed schools worked at the time was to basically stimulate yourself, because that was a problem to these women that have no patience. And there's not enough male people because they're not emotionally available people. So it's two wrongs don't make masculine women and, emotionally unavailable men. So, in that experience, and I bring up WCB, I'll have a WCBS story. Whenever I would talk about radio, they would shut me up. The speech therapist didn't really care, but the teacher was the thick chick, 5'8", size probably, I don't know, 8, a thick build, and say, well, I don't care what this is attitude. And for many, many years, the trauma of Seacoast Learning Collaborative forever it's hard for me to let go of that trauma. But this is an antidote of what I hope people like me, if you've listened to this show, would understand. Do what makes you feel good. Don't listen to these hacks. Don't say it out loud to them, by the way. But just say in your head that these people are a bunch of hacks and prove them wrong. And try to do as much as you can. Because if you're not happy, no one around you's going to be happy. And I'm going to tell you right now, these people were so stoic and robotic that they were just they don't care about me. They just only cared about it because it was a job. There's I understand there's got to be some professionalism, but the problem is these people are so professional that they literally ripped my soul out, and they were washing their hands at night with all the blood and guts, and then they started getting knocked up and were shitting out babies, and they were kissing their babies goodnight of what they were doing a year or two before, just ripping our souls out, because that was how you treated autistic disorders because again it was a hangover of the 1980s, and really some people still really do believe that the 1980s is like the New Testament on treating autism, and I'll tell you that is bullshit, absolute bullshit. 9/11 was kind of like, and I've said this on one of our early anniversary episodes that we did on 9/11, on our first one on the zoo. I said it was like just another trauma in the trauma of being put out of district, being told about my condition, and then a year and a half later 9/11 happened. It was very or maybe 2 years when you think about it. It was traumatic for me. But the people just really felt that their best interest was to de-energize, de-stimulate everything, and just do everything they tell you. So I hope that my life experience is do what makes you feel good, no matter what consultant, what expert tells you otherwise. And because these people don't know what the hell they're doing. That's why they were special ed teachers a year later, except for the other bitch. She's been in Milford, the Milford Schools District here in New Hampshire. I bet you she hasn't changed. And both of those ladies were malignant narcissists, I think. I can't diagnose them, but yeah, it's been a really sad time here. We've been contemplating what to do, the dynamics, the living arrangements, because we are a home-based business, but it's not being respected as a home-based business. It's respected as just like a mom can, walk over me, call me at any time, and expect the phone to be picked up. If the phone doesn't answer, there's something wrong, right? My mother's supposed to go back to work, but then as of like 7:30 this morning, before I was prepping for the show, I wasn't sure if I was going to be having the building to myself. I don't want her to hear this stuff. This is not for the faint of heart. As I said, she doesn't have, she's got brittle. she's a brutal person. And we are going to take a quick break, and I need to take a break. I'm running on a little extra here. We will come back on the other side here. Thank you, MNG. We're checking with Amanda, and then we will do our final goodbyes here. Maybe do some other news stuff, like at least try to tell you what's going on. Maybe do we have Liz Plank on our board? Nope, no. Nope, I don't have Lizzie on here, but I have her on the computer. Just the journalism ethics of this girl. I guess her handles change on YouTube to match her playful, childlike social media. I guess Elizabeth Plank is not going to be her identity for anymore. But I just thought I'd do that one to focus on journalism, liberalism, and sexism, and why is this girl in the United States? Why is this girl not deported? That'll be my media. That'll be my last media round. I'll dedicate to this bitch. Following our 9/11 tribute. you? Do we not have it? We'll have to fix this up in post, shouldn't we? 'Cause we're going to be working until the very last moment here. Let's see if
Take care of her. I have to.
right, we all have her intro. Screw it. But she's a crazy feminist that doesn't like men, and she claims to be a journalist. God help us if we have more millennials that should have been aborted. Okay, hear me out. 80% of these people should have been sent to the abortion clinics. That would have been 80 million of them. Guess what? I was just doing a Google search last night to see where were all the millennials, and if they have died, had early mortality. It seems like millennials are at risk for high cancer. Wonder why that is. But Liz Plank is, obviously just making a name for herself, claiming to use a journalist card. It's just like how a cross-dresser wants to get to women. He goes to a women's place, and then he dresses like a woman, then turns into a man, then rapes a woman, and of course that's all bullshit. But journalism, we know that the activists cross-dress as, hotties for Harris, and then become a journalist, and then just degrading industry entirely. People should be freaking deported and aborted as well. Okay, anyhow. For anyone under 30, which is kind of freaking hilarious, because Liz Blake is a week younger than yours truly. She's closer to 40. For anyone under, this is from I want to cite the source, Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. For anyone under 30, the hottest ticket to snag after day 2 of the DNC was the Hotties for Harris after party, where drag queens were dancing in front of superimposed spinning Tim Walz cutouts and coconut tree graphics. I am not kidding. This is the best political party I've ever been to. David Hogg, the co-creator for March for Lives, the guy that was survivor of the Parkland shootings in 2018. This is where Gen Z is. The event, which is billed as a content creator party, focused on its messaging on reproductive rights to young voters with raunchy decorations and free contraception. In the venue, the partygoers were greeted by halls of hotties while lit in the same lime green shade of pop star Charlie XCX's Brat album, featuring out photos of everyone from former President Barack Obama to Billy Eagles, Jason Kelsey, brother of the other Kelsey. Organizers also poked fun of the Republican Party, former President Donald Trump, and Vice Presidential nominee J.D. Vance, designating a wall of weirdos with portraits of a pair of other Republican officials. Upon entering the space, attendees snagged the hotties for Harris bucket hats, tank tops, shirts and posters, and other merch to bring home, and a assortment of Fuck Project 2025 condoms. More than 2,000 guests signed up for the spot for list, according to event co-host Liz Plank, aka the Montreal journalist, quote unquote, and a feminist that quote unquote loves men, but she only likes softies. That's all you need to know about Liz Plank. She is just she's barely objective. That's even the more creepier thing, that she's around the kids, because David Hogg is barely legal. Why is Liz Plank closer to 40 messing around with kids? Again, sex offender! Yeah, again, she uses people with disabilities to lift her up. She singles out other people. It's she loves men. No, she doesn't. She only likes soy boys. And this feminist is a joke. And she's organizing something that's not even in her own fucking country. She has no American ties. Even as bad as freaking Jordan Peterson, why the hell are these people exporting themselves? They're exporting their trauma and their grievances in our fucking country when we're already got our own freaking problems. God. Slinky girl! Dumb as fuck. She doesn't even have any boobs. She barely has hips. She's oh god. She's literally a girl in a woman's body. She never identifies herself as a woman either, so. God, I can't channel and your inner child and talk to your little younger Liz Blank. Gag me. What else do we have? I think that's all I have. I mean, I know I had other clips, in here, but unfortunately, I think it's just, time. It's almost time to say goodbye. We're gonna take another break here. We've been on for the 8 or so minutes, here on the zoo here, and then we'll come back, and do a final wrap up here, our final thoughts. We are gonna do, make sure it's clean and make sure you don't screw up, because we can't fix it in post. We're all gonna have our very, very final thoughts. M&G will have another traffic and weather update. Amanda will say our words. We'll all say our final words here on the weekly. So please tune in. welcome back to the show here. This is the Weekly Zoo. I'm your humble zookeeper, Stephen Clickford. We're brought to you by techycraft.clickford.net. Techycraft, visit us at techycraft.clickford.net. I forgot to bring our samples from Techycraft, but we're preoccupied with other stuff. We have to close down a media production facility. I don't know how you do that the right way. I want to deliver my truly final words here. As I mentioned in the previous block, or the block before that one, that do what makes you happy, do what makes you stimulated, but be responsible about it. It's becoming a very lonely world. We did a video reaction to the girl in the blue dress, who I'll call her my homegirl because I feel so bad for her, and she's not that far away, and she's broken the interwebs with the I have no friends video entitled that very simple title. In this place, in this town that I live in, it's a very Kelly Ayotte town. It's deep red. It's all about your personal beliefs as over as possible. There's no way to challenge gently your persuasion. And there's just people that are very stubborn, but for people like me, I'm the one who's look bad. And to have a differing view, challenging people's beliefs gently, mind you. People don't want to be changed. They don't want to be persuaded. The confusing messages of feminism, of conservative traditional women, which is a really hot mess when you think about it, to all these various, as I mentioned, all these stuff are political. That's what New Hampshire is. When you turn on a public access channel, a lot of people like to talk about politics. Everything is a talk show. That's why we did the skits at the end here, because we wanted to kind of not be this kind of lower crowd. There's a lot of free staters that do talk shows on YouTube and Twitch. Yes, we do talk about politics, but we talk about it as issues. We talk about it as, what's pissing you off today, kind of a thing. Or we make fun of them for their personalities, or their toxic personalities. That's what I did with the zoo. I was trying to mix a drive time talk show that would be delivered as podcast, but mix it with a morning show approach to have some amusement and not be completely dry, and not be just another political show. Just try to stand out. All these things that they tell you to do, and then what are people suggesting you to do? Go and do what everyone else is doing. I'm sorry if I sound angry. I'm going through a lot of grief. As you know, I lost my grandmother almost a year ago. Will be next Friday, the 20th, and I was going through a lot of trauma in my life, and I think it's time for me to permanently go dormant for a very long time. YouTube is a very highly competitive marketplace that's pricing you and me out. The smaller people that like to do broadcasting stuff, it's more filming, more niche stuff. We try to be general, and then not we're privileged. We have the privilege to say goodbye, so that's how I'm gonna do it. I want to say it that way. I think you said goodbye a lot of times in your life. I can tell you, oh yeah, fuck them before they fuck you. Amanda, you know, the lovely call strangler. Amanda, what do you have any final words before we go? I hope so too. This media business, the alternative media business, I think they're starting to feel what the mainstream media has been feeling with pressures. All right, folks. Again, much thank you to all the people that have followed me, watched me over the years. Like I said, this has been really tough for us for the last several months. We were zeroed out, and then to know that this whole place is shutting down for good is we're going through a process. Thank you so much. We're gonna sign off here. Thank you for supporting us and watching us, and please support Techie Crafts if possible. TechieCrafts.clickfor.net. Maybe we'll just do a quick after show. What do you think who's gonna take over this place? I think you're saying the end of the month, or maybe at the end of midway through November, because they gotta liquidate all the equipment for the show, for the equipment. They're gonna try to. I don't know if that's gonna work. I mean, it's a lot of equipment. I think they might just abandon some of it, but yeah, alright. So no one's hearing through the rumor mill. Well, I know we don't have to go home, but we can't sit here after September 15th. So, alright, folks, thank you very much for this edition of the Zoo. Again, please, our very last episode, please watch our special, beginning, on Sunday, night. We'll be airing our very, our specials that we've done, and we're gonna run that. That's all I